Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome all members and guests to the May 6, 2025 Public Hearing Committee meeting and remind everyone that our meetings are web streamed and televised, so if you could please take a moment to ensure your phones are on silent, that would be appreciated. If you're attending virtually, please keep yourself muted. When called upon to speak, please turn on your camera and unmute yourself, and staff in attendance, please remember to use your Microsoft Teams raise hand feature. I will now call the May 6, 2025 Public Hearing Committee to order, and note that all members of committee are present. Councillor Van Andrieschie is attending virtually. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest today? Seeing none, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, please, to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Huffman, seconded by Councillor Michele. All in favor? Carried. I now officially open the public meetings held under the Municipal Act, the Planning Act, and County Policy. Please be advised that under the Ontario Planning Act, as amended by the province, only specified persons and public bodies as defined in the Planning Act may appeal a decision of Norfolk County to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Third parties or anyone who is not a specified person or public body do not have the right to appeal a decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, to preserve the ability to be party to any appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal, third parties or general members of the public are required to make a comment or provide a written submission. These meetings today are to allow oral and written comments as input to the decisions on specific development applications. And the first item on our agenda is item 4.1, ZNPL 2024-407 and 28 TPL 2024-415, which is staff report CD 25056.
Thank you. Through the mayor. The purpose of the applications is to develop an 8 residential lots draft plan of subdivision in the hamlet area of Norfolk West on La Plante Road. The development requires a zoning bylaw amendment to add a special zoning provision to allow for reduced lot sizes and lot frontage of non-compliant lots. The subject lands are 6.9 hectares in land area with a frontage of approximately 48.3 meters along La Plante Road. Surrounding land uses include low-density residential dwellings to the north and east of the subject lands, hazard lands to the west, and agricultural lands to the south of the subject lands. The property is currently vacant and used for farming. Next slide, please.
Sorry, we don't have a presentation on the screen, so just give us a moment to get that.
Okay. through the mayor, do you want me to repeat description for slide 1? Okay. So next slide, please. Okay. Thank you. The subject lands are designated hamlet and hazard lands in the county's official plan. Development is proposed on hamlet lands that are 3.9 hectares in land area. Low-density residential dwellings on lots suitably sized to accommodate private servicing systems shall be the main permitted use in the hamlet designation in accordance with the official plan. Residential uses are prohibited in the hazard lands. The subject lands include the significant woodland. Development and site alteration are prohibited in the natural heritage feature unless supported with an environmental impact study. The subject property is zoned hamlet residential zone that allows for single detached dwellings. Next slide, please. The proposed lot fabric is shown in the draft plan of subdivision consisting of 8 residential lots. Development is on private servicing consisting of private wells and septic systems. The west northernmost block is proposed for stormwater management pond. The residential lots will each have an individual driveway onto a cul-de-sac road connected and accessed from the plant road. Next slide, please. The zoning bylaw amendment proposes to add a special provision to allow for reduced lot area of lots 1 to 3 and lots 6 to 8 and block 9 to allow for a minimum lot area of 3,500 square meters as opposed to required lot area of 4,000 square meters. A special provision is proposed to allow for reduced lot frontage for lot 5 of a minimum requirement of 27 meters as opposed to 30 meters. A special provision is proposed to prohibit development and site alteration on adjacent lands to the significant woodland located within 10 meters of the drip line. A holding provision is currently placed on the subject lands and will be maintained until such time a plan of subdivision and agreement have been prepared. Next slide, please. The applicant submitted the following technical studies and plan in support of the application as required in accordance with the official plan policies and the pre-consultation notes. So the submission includes stormwater management report, draft plan of subdivision, civil engineering drawings, geotechnical investigation, hydrogeological site assessment, functional servicing report, stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment, planning justification report, traffic impact assessment report, and environmental impact memo. Next slide, please. Technical comments are still pending. Some of the comments provided are summarized as follows. Long Point Conservation Authority states that the final stormwater management design will be reviewed in conjunction with the grading plan, low impact development, stormwater management guidelines, and other technical considerations. Planning staff notes that conditions for draft plan of subdivision approval will be included as part of the planning report of the draft plan of subdivision approval meeting of council. The Director of Engineering provided some comments I will be reading for the record. The Director of Engineering provided that engineering has reviewed the requested rezoning and draft plan of subdivision, and while we have no objection to the request, we do have the following comments for the record regarding the submitted material to date. The lands reside within Dunhunt and Hessler drain watersheds, and therefore the assessment schedules will be required to be updated either through Section 65 or 76 Drainage Act process. The environmental impact report and plans need to be updated to demonstrate how the woodland and its buffers are to be protected. The geotechnical study needs to confirm the seasonally high water table elevation and note mitigation measures. The stormwater management report requires updating to, amongst other things, address external drainage, provide details on on-lot infiltration galleries, examine the existing La Plante Road drainage system, and commit to improvements as necessary. Detail the necessary easement for the storm outfall. The hydrogeological study should be updated to confirm that the lot sizing is sufficient. The lot sizing is sufficient, recognizing the protective boundaries of the significant woodlands, confirm that the aquifer is capable of supporting the full development without negative impact on the immediate area. Finally, the applicant will also be required to provide a construction and access management plan as part of the subdivision approval. At the time of writing this report, general inquiries were received about the proposed development. A written submission was received today at 9 a.m. and was provided to members and will be kept for the public record. Next slide, please. The following are some of the preliminary considerations with respect to housing supply, traffic impact, hazard lands, existing natural heritage feature consistent of significant woodland. Next slide, please. In conclusion, Public Hearing Committee report recommend that staff report for development application 28 TPL 2024-415 and ZNPL 2024-404 be received for information, and further that any comments received as part of the statutory public meeting be considered in future recommendation staff report. Thank you, and with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from committee to staff? Seeing none, is there anyone here in council chambers who wishes to speak to this report? Come on up. There is a microphone at the podium. If you wouldn't mind stating your name for the public record, please. Just give it one push and it'll turn on.
Okay. I live on La Plante Road.
Can you state
My name is Yvette Wheeler, and I'm a resident of Norfolk County.
Thank you.
I just have a few questions about this. It's just some concerns. Is there enough water there, and will they be drilling a test well to make sure that there is enough water for these homes that they're going to build there? Because sometimes then there's problems with water for the other people if we don't look into this. What type of storm pond will be put in, and will it be properly maintained, and who will maintain it and how often? Or is it just going to be stale water sitting there and mosquitoes, and is it going to be the proper storm drain? And will the 8 lots be just for houses, or is there a standard for these houses, the height, the square footage? Or can they build an apartment building there? That's some of our concerns. And that's
Okay, that's great. Thank you for coming. So staff will take your concerns and give that consideration, and then there will be an additional staff report before council when we will make a decision. And so all of that will be reflected in the staff report. Thanks for coming. We appreciate your comments. Is anyone else present?
Madam Mayor, can we have questions of the deputation?
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you mind coming back up? Councillor Columbus would like to ask you a couple questions. I apologize. Go ahead.
If you could share with us, what is your well a drilled well or a point, and how deep would it be?
we have a drill well, and it's probably about 78 feet.
78 feet, okay. Thank you.
And I guess I should have said one more thing too about this storm pond. I already have spoken to one of the people in this room. When it rains on our road, and I mean like when it's a heavy rain, we have like major flooding down there because our drains down there don't work properly. So it's like a skating rink on about 3 or 4 properties down there right across the road. So that's my concern about this drain here, because I think this pond is going behind my house, which is fine, but I want to make sure that it's properly looked after. Is that it?
Is that it? That's it. Thank you very much. Is anyone else present here today that wishes to speak? Is there anyone on the line that wishes to speak to this report? If you could state your name, I think you need to hit the button to turn the microphone back on, and state your name for the public record, please.
My name is Ben Clausen. I live on Highway 19. My concern is right now the water's running across my yard that comes off the field. Being in a field, it absorbs a lot of the water. So now if there's grass, yards, my concern is the volume going to be more? Because the drain in front of my house by the Highway 19, it can barely keep up with what's coming there now. And like I said, it comes right past my backyard. Everything that goes from that backfield right now. And then next thing was for a fence. Like if something is going to happen, is there going to be a privacy fence that they're going to put up there, or is that on my end that I have to do it? Just to be a privacy, was another question.
Yeah, no, typically no. That's not a requirement of a developer to put in any type of privacy fencing between residential units, but if that's something you're interested in, our staff can take it back and speak to the applicant about it. I can't commit anything, but we can take that back.
Just a question I had. If they were going to do one, if I had to look into getting one. So
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you for coming. So final call, anyone on the line or in the room that wishes to speak to this file? Please state your name.
Joe Pacharge. I also live on LaPlante Road. Just kind of a follow-up to the other two people who were here. One of my concerns would be the road as it is already a little beat up, worse for wear. In terms of this development, if there's going to be heavy machinery moving up and down the road, obviously maybe trucking in and out dirt, is there going to be any commitment to maintain the status of the road, repair it if it further deteriorates? Because as the other two people mentioned, there's concern about water runoff, drainage, right? And as trenches kind of form on the road with that heavy machinery, that could increase negative impact with that water pooling. So more or less it for me. Any questions?
Okay, thank you for coming. Staff, maybe when you bring the staff report back to us, you can update council if this is in the capital plan, the road work, or... Okay, not seeing anyone else on the line or in the room coming forward. Okay. Sorry, is the applicant wanting to speak to this? It's the fourth call. Okay, great. So the staff recommendation is...
No, not at this time.
Okay, thanks
you.
for joining us. The staff recommendation is before you to receive the report as information and any of the public comments to be considered and included in a future recommendation report. Is there a mover and a seconder for that recommendation? Moved by Councillor Duthie, seconded by Councillor Van Passen. All in favor? That's carried. The next agenda item is item 4.2, staff report CD 25 028 395 Queensway West.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm also going to be sharing the presentation. Just bear with me a couple seconds here. Okay, so thank you, Madam Mayor. This application is to register a draft plan of subdivision for the subject lands to create a one-lot subdivision that would serve as the basis for the creation of the parcels of tied land associated with the proposed common element condominium through the part lot control exemption. Okay. So the property is roughly 2.89 hectares in size, just over 7 acres in size. It's located in the urban area of Simcoe and is just on the north side of Queensway, in between at the intersection of Hunt Street and Queensway West. So this project or this property may seem familiar to council and to some of the public, as this site was previously council approved in 2023 for an official plan and zoning bylaw amendment that changed the underlying land use designations and respective zonings to facilitate the mixed-use development that consisted of both commercial and residential uses. So as a result of that official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, the northern portion of the site is now designated urban residential, and the southern portion of the site is designated service commercial with special policy area 7.11.3.12. The northern portion of the parcel is zoned urban residential type 4 with a holding provision and special provision 14.1039. The proposal for the northern portion of the parcel is for a 44 low-rise condo block. The southern portion is zoned service commercial with a holding provision as well, and the same special provision applies to the southern portion. For convenience in the report, I also included a hyperlink within the report that would provide the original council recommendation report, CD 23066, for the corresponding official plan and zoning bylaw amendment, and the corresponding bylaws for that official plan and zoning bylaw amendment have also been attached as attachments D and E. So to be clear, the purpose of this subdivision application is exclusively focusing on the northern portion, which is just the 44 townhouse development. At a later point in time, the developer it would be applying for subsequent applications to begin the process for working on the southern parcel, which contains the 6-story apartment building. So at this time, we're only reviewing the northern phase, and at a later date, we'll be reviewing the southern phase in terms of the apartment building. So for the purpose of this application, it's to register a draft plan of subdivision that incorporates the subject lands to create a one-lot subdivision to serve as the basis for the creation for the parcels of tied land for the proposed common element condominium through part lot control exemption. So the common element condominium is comprised solely of areas that are defined as common elements, and those typically include private drive aisles, visitor parking areas, and shared outdoor amenity spaces. And each dwelling unit resides on their own independent parcel of tied land, which would then allow for freehold ownership. So as a part of the review for this application, it's actually being done simultaneously through site plan application SPPL 2024-179. So the applicant received their official plan and zoning bylaw approval and then applied for their site plan application and is now applying for the draft plan of subdivision to create that one-lot subdivision. And the technical review is being done in tandem with the site plan because the same documents are being reviewed, so it makes sense to do a tandem review. So the application's been circulated for comments amongst county agencies, and staff have received the technical comments, which can be found in attachment C. The comments of interest include zoning, which references parking stall sizes to the garage for considerations, and as well engineering. Staff have not received any public comments in regards to this application, and any public considerations would be reflected in the future recommendation report. So for this project, there's some preliminary considerations. So this also would allow, it's further facilitating the previously council-approved 44 townhouse dwelling units through the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment that was done a couple years ago. In terms of the building heights, there's a variety of building heights through the townhouses that also be considered desirable to various demographics within the community. Further to that, the dog park is located just north of the site for parks and trails. In terms of transportation, the traffic impact study that's been provided outlines that the anticipated traffic levels are considered as acceptable for 2025, 2023, and 2035 as well. And for archaeological considerations, a stage 1 and 2 was conducted, and no further archaeological assessment of the property was identified as required per those archaeological studies that were conducted. So for the next steps, in conclusion, the proposal is for the draft plan of subdivision to create the one lot draft plan of subdivision. Staff recommends that the staff report be recommended be received for information, and that any comments received at this meeting would be considered as part of the future recommendation report. And that concludes staff's presentation. At this time, I'd like to outline that I'm also available for questions, and the agent is here as well. Thank you.
Questions from the committee? Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. I guess the first one would be, I see in the studies, there's a photometric study, and I've never seen that before on an application. What is it? And how does it benefit the developer, I guess?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So a photometric study, basically it's like a light study. So what it does is it measures the impacts of that lights would have on their abutting area. So like how bright a light would shine and their impacts on that brightness in terms of like the properties around it. Typically, these are very common for parking lots, for residential subdivisions, for street lighting. That's a normal document that we ask.
I apologize because I haven't seen it before, but maybe I missed it. So does that identify with the property like across the road at the motel and everything? Is that, they're concerned about lighting on the site? Is that how it reflects to the...
Through you, Madam Mayor. So
like there's only 1 or 2 houses in the whole area. And I just wondered, like, are we concerned with lighting on the whole area up there? Is that what we're concerned about?
No, so through you, Madam Mayor, the purpose, it would just be analyzing the respective parcel of property. So each respective property that would request a photometric study, it would be looking at the internal impacts. The external impacts are considered, but at the same time, you'd have to, like, if the street is more well lit, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing in some considerations. It's more so an issue when you have a lot of residential developments right against each other, which in this case there isn't. So.
Okay. All right, I guess, and it's been completed.
That's right.
Okay. My next question is, I see a stormwater pond, and I guess my first question of that, it applies to this development. And my question is the developer responsible to maintain that pond? Will it be drafted into the agreement?
Great question. I've taken note of it, and I'll provide that in a response in the recommendation report.
Thank you.
Councillor Duffy.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Through you, can you just explain to me the parking situation? Because I see notes in the technical comments about the size of the garage, so perhaps I'm a little confused. I'm just trying to understand. Is there a designated driveway and parking for each unit, and then the spaces that I'm seeing here are visitor spaces, and there's garages with each one? Is that the plan?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So the comment in regards to the parking stall size was it's specifically in reference to within the garages, because typically one thing that sometimes is missed that we've seen in the past is the landing so when you're inside the house and you're going into the garage, there's usually some steps and typically those steps aren't always accounted for, and then to try to address that in the future is rather difficult. So it was more so brought up as a reference to address that going forward, to incorporate that component. But the space also allows for the space inside the garage and on the driveway as well.
Okay, so each unit has its own driveway as well as a garage. Okay, perfect. And how many visitor spaces are there in that section? Is that, I'm not sure if that's just, is the correct amount that's showing here or not.
I'd have to comment on that on the recommendation report and to provide with the exact numbers on the visitor parking counts.
Okay, perfect. And then 38 three-story townhouse dwellings, do we know how many bedrooms in each unit, what sort of sizes they are?
Through you, Madam Mayor, at this point in time, I have not asked for that level of detail, but that will be coming forward.
Thank you.
Councillor Columbus.
Yes, Fabian, what is the frontage on this development, the semis and the singles?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I believe it's approximately just, I want to say 6 meters or just a touch greater than that. In terms of the frontage for each respective lot, that at this point in time hasn't been reviewed for this application, because technically the purpose of this application is to create a one-lot subdivision, and that one lot constitutes the entire boundary of the parcel. So there's, like, technically the frontage would be the entire width of the opening for the road. It hasn't been identified at this point in time. That would come throughout the process.
So I guess today we're just separating the 6-story units from the single-story units. Is that it? Basically, that's what we're doing.
So that, through you, Madam Mayor, so that component's already been essentially done in 23, creating the official plans, the amendments for the OP and the zoning. The property's already gone through severance as well. This would allow them to facilitate the development in a way that the agent and developer feels it would be best to bring the development to fruition.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple questions. So what is the next steps from a planning perspective when it's rezoned as one lot? At what point in time, will it be in a recommendation report that council will see lot sizes and can speak about the size of the dwellings and setback or any of those things? Like right now, we're basically just zoning it as one big giant lot under the pretense that it'll be 44 units, but doesn't have to be. Like, we could be giving them one lot and maybe they come back and it's 88 units because they changed the individual lot sizes. So what are the next steps from your perspective, and when does council get information to make an informed decision? Because right now we're doing it assuming it's 44.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that's a great question. So with that, I think it's fair to say that staff's recommendation is, or in terms of like their course of action, would be to bring the subdivision forward for decision. In terms of next steps, would be number one, bring the subdivision forward, and then pursue their subsequent applications of exception of draft plan of condominium and I forget what the technical term is for potholes at the top of it. Do you recall what it is at the top? For potholes? POTLs. Yeah, the bylaw type has escaped me. It's done through delegated approval. Do you recall? No, you've done them recently. I forget what they're called. No, okay, the name has escaped me right now. But ultimately, they would do their draft plan of subdivision, and then once they would do those two subsequent applications, they would then be able to pursue as they see fit. Staff provided them with a different direction back when they did their pre-consultation notes, which outlined OPA, ZBA, site plan and draft plan of condominium. So essentially, this is a very unique application type in that it's different, and it's typically subdivisions aren't one lot. So I kindly ask that the developer would also, or agent would also speak to that as well in terms of their intentions.
Okay, is the agent planning on speaking? Because then I might park my questions. All right. Given that, I will open it up to anyone in the room that wishes to speak to this report. Please come on up. The podium, there's a button you can turn on, and I'd appreciate it if you would start by stating your name for the public record.
Yes, Ian Wilkie. I live on Hunt Street. I'm one of the 3 homes that are on that street. And I appreciate Councillor Brunton with his concerns here about this pond, because I don't recall that coming up at any other time that we've received notice of this. And that pond now is in the southwest corner of where I live.
Sorry, Mr. Wilkie, if you could speak into the microphone and just...
that pond is now in the southwest corner of where I live. And if it's not maintained, where's that water going to go? Because right at the present time, all the runoff of this property runs through a culvert into the creek. And a pond going in there is going to be a mosquito problem if it doesn't have a fountain or that water's not moving. And you brought up my other concern about the height, and it just seems a few things have been changing from what they were originally going to do. And that's our concerns of the 3 homeowners on the street. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. Are there any questions for Mr. Wilkie before he... Okay. Nope, those comments are well received, and they'll be considered by staff and put into an additional staff report at a later date. Is anyone else present? Come on up. If you could state your
Good
name for the public
afternoon.
record.
My name is Christine Danielle Hill, and I am the owner of 417 Queensway West, one of the, I think, 3 or 4 homes affected by this development. So I'll just start by saying I kind of caught the vibe that when developers come into projects, they think that they know what is best for a community. I want to start by saying that I was born at Norfolk General Hospital in 1985. I am a second-generation Simcoe business owner. My parents owned Steve's Pizza. I own Drivewise Simcoe. I attended Simcoe Composite School, and I am a proud member of this community. It took me over 10 years to find the home, and I apologize if I get emotional, because I will. It took me 10 years to find the home that I currently found and that I'm living in. That home once belonged to the man who dedicated the very bell tower that sits at the center of our community, Colonel A.A. Winters. The property that I live on, that I am privileged to own, serves as a beautiful, historic part of our town. Although it is not designated a historic property, it nonetheless carries a deep and meaningful history in the town of Simcoe. It is not just some property that could be sold or changed or developed upon. It is a very precious place. Behind my home live thousands of healthy, beautiful, wild animals. Every morning I get up and I look out my back window and I give thanks for the day and the beauty in which I live. I am surrounded by the most beautiful green space. And I was so proud and happy to buy this home, to raise my children in that place. It is precious, and it is wild, and it is special. This subdivision, by no means, in my humble opinion, and again, this is only my opinion, I understand I do not have the power to change these decisions myself. This subdivision would destroy that. The location of this subdivision, in our opinion, and I speak on behalf of my husband, Zach, who is currently at work right now and couldn't be here today, makes no sense. The traffic flow in front of our house is already one that is posed with several problems. As a driving instructor who has spent thousands of hours, more than any developer involved in this project has, driving up and down the streets of Norfolk County, driving on the Queensway. Our property is right at the point where 2 lanes narrow down to 1, and there are near misses there almost every single day as a result of traffic trying to merge there. Can you imagine 200 to 300 people a day trying to get in and out of that corner, not only for residential purposes, but let's add in a whole floor of businesses as well? How does that fit the character of that space? It doesn't work at all. And then the other problem is they want to add in, later on now I understand, coming into it today, I thought it was going to be spoken to today, they want to add in a 6-story building. Where else in Simcoe do we have a 6-story apartment building? I can think of 2 places. Maranatha Court, perhaps. It might not even be quite that high, and Mill Pond Court. Neither of those sit on a tiny lot on the corner of a busy intersection like Hunt Street. There's no way that that, in our opinion, would make any sense at all. We would have so much traffic coming and going, the noise pollution would be crazy, wildlife would be disturbed, and it would take away greatly from the character and the richness of that area. Simcoe, a lot of people in Simcoe don't realize that there is a whole green space back in there, behind there, that's been there for hundreds of years undisturbed, and it needs to remain that way. I cannot imagine going out. My little girl, my 4-year-old daughter, calls her backyard her magical forest. She goes back there at night and we look out at the stars. If you let this subdivision come in there the way it's planned, there won't be any stars. There's only going to be light. This is not Burlington, Ontario. This is not Toronto, Ontario. This is Simcoe, Ontario. We don't need great big developments right in the heart of our little town. This is not what we are. This is not what we're designed for. Are there places for things like this in Norfolk County? Of course, there's lots of outlying areas where we could start building large subdivisions. But why on earth would you pick the lot of Wilson Truck and Trailer and say to yourself, oh, I'm going to plunk down hundreds of people right in this tiny little spot? Why? Because you're from an urban intensification area such as Burlington, where that's the way they do things and that's the norm there. But it's not our norm here. It doesn't need to be our norm here. Speaking further to that, the other issue that I'm worried about is the crime that might come with such a thing. We might have such a boom, an intense area of people that now my property is going to be at risk. We have to think about things like this. When you move 200 or 300 people suddenly into one small area, where are these children going to go to school? I'm on a wait list for my daughter currently because there's no daycare. Where are we going to send 200 or 300 more kids in our neighborhood to school? We don't have room in the schools for them as it is. We're already overwhelmed. We're already at capacity. I feel very strongly that as Norfolk residents, we need to look at what makes Simcoe Simcoe, what makes us precious and unique, and try to keep the character of our small town. And I'm going to close by saying this. In going to Simcoe Composite School, I had the best teachers, and some of you can relate. And I had Mr. Whiten as one of my teachers, and he was a former city planner. And I actually stood in this very room back in 2004 as part of his class and attended an OMB hearing. And then that sparked a spark in me, and I wanted to become a lawyer. And so I took that path for a little while, and I actually came into this room once in 2005, and I spoke on behalf of Walmart, of all things. I was young, I was 19 years old, and I thought for all the world that I knew what was best for Simcoe. And I came in here and I talked and said that Walmart would be a good thing for all of us. Walmart would change things. Walmart would be progress. Walmart would make Simcoe better. It would bring in jobs. And you now know what I do, 22 years later? I'm downtown Simcoe helping pick up the pieces of that decision. All of those tiny little stores and shops, that beautiful little downtown core that I took advantage of as a teenager, that I loved so much, it's not the same anymore, because big business came in. And I stood here and I thought that that was a great thing. I thought, let's bring in the big business, let's bring in the big box stores from the city, let's change things. And guess what we did? We took the heart rate of our own town. And all I ask as you go forward with these plans is that you please think of this. There's only 2 or 3 homes affected by this development, but we matter. We're people too. It's David and Goliath here. I'm at the mercy of you. I'm at the mercy of the decisions that you make for this town. Do we need another big city developer coming in here and changing things? Yes or no? Maybe, right? Maybe the answer, we know we
I'm
need
going to have to
homes
cut
in
you off,
Norfolk,
Christine.
of course.
I apologize. I let you go an extra minute there.
But
I thought
yes,
you were
well,
wrapping
anyways,
up.
thank you so much for your time today, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Before you head off, does anyone wish to ask a question? Go ahead. Councilor Breton.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to picture, do you in the pond house? Was the pond house?
It's the house in behind the vet clinic.
Sorry?
The house behind the vet clinic at 417 Queensway. We're behind the Cousins Heating and Cooling Plaza, the one tucked back in behind. You probably have never even noticed it.
Oh, is that the one, Cousins?
It's behind the Cousins, yeah, behind there.
Oh, really? I didn't even realize there's one that far back.
It's a big craftsman house, yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Mayor, may I ask the planner a question again?
Yep, sure. Let's just, okay, yeah, go ahead.
In the traffic study, you said there was no concerns raised in terms of, was there any indication of the intersection at Hunt and Queensway in terms of like future volumes, turning movements, etc.?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the report outlined that from my recollection, was that there were no traffic improvements required for the next 10 years per the traffic volumes within the area and based on the amount that the proposal would have on the respective area. It didn't outline that any traffic upgrades were required.
So they did deal with the intersection.
They've analyzed it, correct?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room that wishes to speak to 395 Queensway West? Or is there anyone on the line that wishes to speak to 395 Queensway West? Okay, I'll turn it over to the applicant or agent. Eldon, whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you very much. This is a great discussion so far. Thanks very much for having me. I apologize for joining you remotely today, having an issue walking, little injury. So Fabian did a really fantastic job outlining this, the purpose of this project. I think maybe my presentation might fill in a few of the gaps through questions that were just raised. So if the presentation can be brought up on the screen, that would be fantastic. I will skip through much of it because Fabian covered it incredibly well. So I will try to focus on just those items that might add some clarity. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so yes, my name is Eldon Darvison. Next slide, please. I'm a registered professional planner with G. Douglas Valley. We're here on behalf of HFW Holdings Limited, who I believe are in the gallery today. Next slide, please. Fabian is correct. We are dealing just specifically with the northern parcel outlined in this slide today. Next slide, please. Very good. And that, yes, this is the site plan that is currently with the county at the moment for the northern portion for the 44 units and including a storm pond. Next slide, please. So this slide represents the history of all of the planning approvals that we've had to go through. So we started off with pre-consultation. Council approved the official plan and zoning bylaw for the north and south parcel back in 2023. There was consent to sever the north part from the south part in 2024. We are currently undergoing a site plan application review with Norfolk County staff on the north part, which is what you saw in draft there on the previous slide. And today we are looking at a one lot plan of subdivision. Future applications will include, as Fabian had alluded to, part lot control exemption. I think that was what you were trying to remember the term, Fabian. And then followed by an exemption from draft plan condominium, ultimately resulting in building permit approvals. Next slide, please. So the one lot subdivision, the reason why we're doing this is because the form of development to create land units is through a part lot control exemption. You can only lift part lot control, which goes before council. You can only lift part lot control if it's in a plan of subdivision. So that's purpose of why we're applying for this one lot subdivision. The lands are controlled through a parallel site plan process. So a lot of the concerns and technical comments that were included in today's presentation and brought up are actually being dealt with at the site plan stage. So things like studies and so on and so forth, all going through that process. Much of the other approvals have already been done, as we mentioned before. There's a history of planning approvals here, and a lot of those studies have already been completed and gone through a public process. So following the, just in terms of site plan, you don't need an actual subdivision agreement for this one lot because we're actually because of the site plan process, which has a number of conditions, we can address those items that would normally be required through subdivision agreement. So in this case, the site plan would replace the actual agreement for the one lot. Then we're going to be looking at a common element condominium exemption. So as Fabian alluded to, this controls common elements, and I won't repeat those. It creates freehold parcels. It gives the ability to sell them in a timely manner, and it reduces the costs, long-term condominium fees that would normally be associated with other forms of condominium. Next slide, please. Very good. So essentially what we're talking about with today's application is a plan of subdivision, which is more technical in nature because we're going through a site plan process. And this facilitates the part lot control exemption. We've gone through all the legislative planning approvals previously. It's undergone provincial review and local review and achieved council approvals. We are going through a current site plan review process, which requires technical review. This will result in the site plan agreement covering things such as servicing, stormwater, and parking. A subdivision agreement is therefore not required. So there was a concern brought up about stormwater, and yes, it has to be managed. And because it will form part of the common element, that means the condominium is responsible for maintaining that. So this is where condo fees come in, and there are requirements to maintain. So the simple answer is yes, it will be maintained. Next slide, please. Okay, so I hope that wraps everything up. I do appreciate the comments that were given today from the speakers as well. But yes, in this case, the approvals are already in place, and this is just a technical exercise that we're dealing with for one lot to facilitate the rest of the process. So if there's any questions of me, I'd be happy to answer them, or my colleagues that are in the gallery today.
I just would like to clarify something, Eldon. So it's one lot plan, but through site plan, it will create the lots. But then they're freehold individual ownerships. So I'm lost a little bit there on how lots are being created if they're not done at a zoning or a bylaw amendment stage. They're being done through site plan control. If a 100-year storm came through and wiped out all of those units, would it not just remain as one lot?
This is a great question. So actually you brought up zoning as well. So the zoning that was approved by council will dictate things such as height and their frontages, each unit's frontage. So that the site plan process makes sure that actually gets implemented. So it will meet zoning. It has to meet zoning. It will have to meet all parking requirements, visitor parking, so on and so forth. The actual creation of the lot is, we're creating, how do I say this? The application today is, it creates one lot in a plan of subdivision. So essentially, it's just one big, call it blob of land. The actual units themselves get created through part lot control exemption. It's another requirement, or sorry, a procedure under the Planning Act. Council has seen this before. What it does is, it's a reference plan, and it will actually show how these parcels are split up into units. That's the mechanism that will actually create the units, not what we're dealing with today. This will facilitate that ability under the Planning Act.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Part lot control creates the lots, and that is binding. Then those lots are formed, and it's not that it would ever defer back to just the one large lot of land. It's the part lot control exemption. Okay, understood. Thank you for that.
Yes, yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Just on that, Eldon, the traffic study, back to the traffic study, there's a proposed, I think it's a condominium development across Hunt Street on the east of this development. would they have, and I don't know how they did the traffic study, I haven't seen it, but would they take that into consideration in terms of future traffic development or no?
That's a great question. I believe so, except because of my involvement with each project, there was a bit of a delay. I see Mr. Lambert has popped up. I think he's more appropriate to answer that question.
That's good. I forget, there's a sign there that tells you how many units and everything are going in there, but I don't know what it's at.
Darnell?
Thanks, Eldon, and through you, Madam Chair, to the Councillor's inquiry. I actually have the traffic impact study in front of me, and yes, they considered not only their development site, but any other active development sites, including the one you cited within their traffic impact assessment. So yes, that's been addressed.
Thank you.
Okay, my only other question is, when we discussed this parcel and development initially, we spoke about, and the developer made a commitment to help us out with a bus station. Is that going ahead, given that this is chopped up into 2 parcels? Or is that happening when the southern parcel advances?
Through you, Madam Mayor, so that's an item that the agent has also reached out to staff on, and I'm having those discussions at a staff level, and we'll be responding to the agent as well, and hopefully providing comment on that as well in regards to the recommendation report to provide clarity there.
Okay, thank you. Final call to anyone in the room or online for 395 Queensway West. Not. There's a recommendation for committee to receive the report as information, and as well as the comments, and have them considered in a future recommendation staff report. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Brunton, Councillor Columbus, all in favor? That's carried. And then item 4.3 is a portion of Pine Road, Long Point, CS 25057.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of committee. Report CS 25057 is a road closure and conveyance proposal being presented to the Public Hearings Committee for information purposes to allow the public an opportunity to express concerns, comments, objections, or support with regards to the request by the applicants for the permanent closure and conveyance of the part of road allowance on Main Road or Pine Road East, Long Point, adjacent to their properties. Realty staff has not received any public input with regards to the proposed closure and conveyance. A further report will be presented to council at a later date for the purposes of a decision. Staff are here today to hear from the public and to answer any questions members of the committee or the public may have related to the road closure. I just did want to make one note that the recommendation that is printed on the cover page of the agenda is not the recommendation that's in the report.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Yep.
So maybe we can get the correct recommendation up on the screen so that the public and committee has advanced time to confirm that it's correct, and then I will open it up to questions in the meantime. Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I noticed on the map that they just sort of drew a straight line across, but you're actually taking part of the road allowance of the road that's not yet open, or the unopened. You're taking part of the open municipal road. Is there logic to drawing the line that way rather than maintaining the full width of the open part of the road?
Through you, Mayor Martin. Yeah, the map that we provided in our report was just a rough map. So the portion that we're selling to the adjacent owners is part of the unopened road allowance. But we drew the line just down on the bottom because the one owner has to have a set amount of frontage on the road. So we drew that line on the bottom, but we can discuss, with the property owners the exact amount, but that's the reason why we drew it on the bottom, was just to give that one property owner enough frontage on the road.
So there is logic to it then.
Correct.
Thank you. So.
Correct.
Councillor Vanandrishi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. My question would be, just looking at the map, okay, not knowing the specific area, was there any consideration by staff that we would maintain that as some form of parking down there, or is it totally unfeasible? I just don't know. Or putting the two pieces together, does that not make size enough to say to sell as a lot? Just asking if there was other thoughts put into it rather than the petition to ask to purchase both sides.
Through you, Mayor Martin, the part that we're selling is part of the unopened road. So the one part to the east is going to the owner behind to add to his, and the one part to the west is going to the property owner to the west. So we were just going to bring it down enough to the part of the open portion of the road. We can take into the we can talk to the owners and take into consideration the corner, and we can make the corner on the north side adjacent so that there is enough frontage, like enough for the width of the road to go all the way around the corner. So we can discuss that with them and bring back like an updated map, maybe just show the V around the corner to make sure there's enough room to go around that area.
Okay, that wasn't specifically my question, if I may. My question is, and I don't know the area, is how far is it from, can it be used as a parking on Long Point or not? Anything like,
Madam Mayor,
was
I'm not
anything ever
aware. I can
considered
look.
that
Yeah,
way?
I can look into that and get back in our recommendation report as well.
Just out of curiosity, because I know there is a situation of parking on Long Point, and I'm just wondering how far this is and where it's actually located. I haven't been down there. And does it have any alternate uses, or is the best use for it is to sell the unmaintained use of the road? So that's just my question.
Okay, yep, thank you. We can take that into consideration and bring that back forward in our recommendation report.
Councillor Columbus.
Madam Mayor, just some clarification required. The recommendation reads it's Pine Road East, but yet the GPS drawing says Pine Road West. So which is it?
That part of the that was an old road. So the northerly portion of that was previously closed years ago. I was on the understanding it was part of the Pine Road East is what it was called. It's what it's called on the title on the parcel register, is part of the Pine Road East. But I can double check that as well.
So perhaps our GPS drawing is wrong? Is that the question?
We'll get it confirmed in a recommendation report.
Yeah, anyway, it can be confirmed later. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Micheli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to staff. Karen, the MNR, and I think maybe it should be MNRF now, but they sent you an email indicating that they have no interest in that property.
Correct, that is correct.
Would it be possible to have that email attached to the next report?
Sure, yes, we'll do, yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Duthie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, can I just ask about the valuations and maybe for a little bit more understanding as to why we want to use two different sets of rates on this property?
Through you, Madam Mayor, when the policy says when a property owner submits an application and the fee, it's at the time of the valuation. The one property owner, they submitted their application prior to the 2022 valuation. So we go by that valuation. In 2022, council approved a new evaluation. So the second owner, they just put their application in this year to purchase. purchase. So they're going by the newer evaluation, and the other adjoining owner is going by the older evaluation. It's stated in the new policy that any application that was submitted prior to the 2022 amended valuations are to go on the old.
Okay, is there anyone present here today that wishes to speak to this report? Is there anyone on the line that wishes to speak to this report? Final call? Seeing no one, so I would look for a mover and a seconder for the staff recommendation, which is on the screen before you. Moved by Councillor Columbus. Seconded by Councillor Michelli. All in favor? That's carried. And with that, that is the end of our public hearing committee meeting. I would look for Councillor Huffman to move for adjournment at 4:06 p.m., seconded by Councillor Michelli. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.